The last set of brick barracks that are built. From here onwards it's going to be wooden barracks that we have over here. But it still gives us some idea of what was taking place here. When we look at the beds that we see over here, okay, and those are going to speak more about it, but we're looking at a very serious overcrowding during Hungarian Jewry. These beds, okay, which you see over here, which were made for 6 people each. 6, 6 and 6. But originally, they're not made for 6. I mean, we can tell that that's not what it's really made for. 6 people. Well, 6 people fit there. Well, during Hungarian Jewry, it went up to 10, and then it went up to 12. Well, I think 12 or 13. I've heard from one survivor they had on their bed. Okay. Now you imagine what that means. First of all, number one, they're so emaciated they're able to fit in there, but they sit side by side by side by side. You want to be able to turn over, you go up, and everyone has to turn over. Where do you sleep? Top, bottom, middle? Which one's the best one? Well, if you sleep on the top, you've got the rain coming in places which wasn't fixed. By the way, in the wooden ones, it was less good than what we have over here. You got the heat of the summer, which is unbearable, by the way, in these barracks. Okay, during that time. What about in the middle? Well, if the person at the top's got dysentery and he's unable to control his bowels, you know what's going to happen. Okay, and you're also at the level for the capo, which are the 2 rooms that you saw as you came in on either side, to come and just give you a canap. Okay, or strangle you in the middle of the night. And what about the bottom? What about the rats of Birkenau? And then I'm at the level of the foot of the capo, okay, and anyone else that wants to also cause me damage at night. There's no easy idea over here. This part as well was filled with beds where we're now standing. Okay, the only part was in the middle over there in this barrack specifically, where they gave out food. Okay, in this area. Even though there were ovens in every single barrack, didn't necessarily mean that they would be turned on in the winter. Now I have stood here at minus 27 degrees. Okay, and I promise you, I didn't know what to do with myself. I did not know what to do with myself. And I can tell you this, okay, it's the only ever group that I have had finishing Birkenau in the middle of, it was pitch black. We made a l'chaim at the end as we finished a siyum, okay, of Shas Mishnah at the end of all the 6 books of Mishnah at the end of minus 27. I've never seen a group sprint out of Auschwitz. Okay, but they were so cold. We were so cold, and we were covered head to toe in clothes. What is it like to be here at minus 27 in a pair of pajamas? And so with all of that, I want you to try and understand what it means, okay, today as well. Okay, during his whole story. That he's going to describe now of what this meant as well. So I'm going to ask you once again, just to remind you, okay, we're going from the time you're taking from your village, you're going to speak about your mother first of all, and especially here, we're in women's barracks, you're going to speak about your mother first of all, okay? Okay? And from then onwards, okay, we're going to talk about what's taking place. Afterwards, you'll have a chance to ask them.
Okay. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, okay. I didn't speak much about my mother. My mother, her name was Ruchel Klein. Before she got married, she married my father, but she became Kleinman. And I remember one thing very distinctly about her: a wonderful person, a loving person. And one of our families came to visit us, and she said to my mom, he said to my mom, "I happen to be there. How can you live like that? You're so poor, you know, you got nothing." I don't understand it, you know, So my mother said, "I'm the richest woman in the world. I've got 8 children, and each one is empty. And that's my religion. The money doesn't mean a thing to me." So that's the type of mother, you know, she was. Yes, she wasn't only her own person. But on the Shabbos, every Friday night, and I couldn't believe it, everything she had to do, because she had no electricity, no water, she had to go to the Haddon, he asked to get some water. But she did have a Shabbos, and day before dinner, Friday afternoon, she took some mud and cleaned the floor with mud. There was no floorboards. You know, and she made it nice, it looks nice for the Shabbos. You know, and then of course, how she done it, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. She done all the cooking, she done all the washing, and then she did the washing at the river. And then she had to clap like, you know, to get it stuff out, like they did in the old times. So I just want to mention, because I haven't mentioned my mother at all, and so I'm going to try to tell you what type of mother, proper Yiddish mother she was. And she gave us so much love, maybe that's why I had easier to carry on what I carried on for my mother's love which she gave me. As my father was taken away, he was accused of signaling the Allies. So my mother was left. About 2 weeks later, the Hungarians, the guards come up and gave us exactly 2 hours to get ready to move on. And you have to line up in fives. And so it was me, my mother, and of course father wasn't there, and I had 3 brothers and 4 sisters. So you all lined up, but we only allowed 1 suitcase. So what do you put into 1 suitcase? You know, what do we take? So my mother decided the food is very important. The food is very important. So she managed to make a few bit of food, a bit of bread for the children. Those things came to children, of course. So that's what we took in the suitcase. We didn't really take any clothes, not really much. We didn't. So we clothes by some, but food is important to give us life. That's all we could take in the small suitcase. So anyway, then we queued up. It was in the spring of 1944. And actually we mentioned before, how comes nobody done nothing about it? How comes the Hungarian Jews, you know what? They done it everything a very, very slow way. Some people I know, they were saying, nothing to do with us, it's all the problems is in Poland. And we're Hungarians. Besides, it says 1944, the war was finished soon, so, you know, they didn't want to know, they didn't believe. This Polish Jews who came over told us the story. My father believed. And I happened over here, once only, over here, but my father talked to this Polish Yid, and he was saying that they took children and knocked it against the brick and things like that, you know. So that's the only thing I could hear actually, but I didn't know what they were talking about. I was then actually nearly 14, and so we lined up and said, where are we going? We're going to a ghetto, and I never heard of a ghetto before, I didn't know what a ghetto was. We ended up 5 kilometers walk, a lot of them have already died by then, you know, because they took them out from the hospitals. Actually, in the hospital, some of them took out even under operation. They didn't want any Jews left in the area. They were on an operating table, they took them out, obviously they died. And we marched on towards Satmar, which was, as I said, 5 kilometers. Satmar was a town, very Hasidic town, you know, it came on the Satmar, so you saw shrams, long jackets. This was Satmar, you know, really. There was a few synagogues there. And we ended up in Satmar, and we didn't have anywhere to go, so we ended up in the synagogue hall. And we were sleeping, I remember on the floor. That's the only place we could have. We didn't have a bed, and we were sleeping on the floor. The kids were, my brother was only 4 years old, Avrom, his name was. My younger brother was Moshe Israel, and the other brother was Avrom, the 4-year-old. So they were screaming, they want to go home, they don't like it up here, don't this and this. But we had no choice. So we were there, lucky enough, we were there, Mr. Hall was lucky, I didn't know where we were going. And we were there for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks maybe, I can't remember the exact date. And then they told us, we got to go now, we're going to go to Germany, always lies all the time. And in Germany you're going to work in a big factory, and you're going to have, the family can live together, but it's only temporary. And then they told us, there's also a chance to go to a vineyard. So everybody rushed. The vineyard is fantastic, and we can go there. You know, so everybody rushed. This way they got us to go to the trains. Now when we went to these trains, it was about 4 kilometers outside Satmar. Because they didn't want the Hungarians to see everything. So they got us out there, the trains are there. And then, I remember, it was these freight trains or cattle trains, whatever it is, lined up. And I said to one of the men, where is our train? He says, Well, the Germans need the proper tanks to go to the soldiers, to the military, go to Russia and stuff like that. So they've got nothing else. So that's all they got left. So yeah, we have to take them trains. We got to these trains. They gave us one packet only. And when we got into these trains, it was very supposed to be, say, they said 80 at most. They packed in 120. And we were just standing in my sardines. Couldn't move with this. And they also gave us only one packet. So you can imagine going to the toilets, one packet, that's all it was. And I remember after the day, the whole place smelled terrible. The kids were screaming, they wanted food, they wanted to go home. And it was a terrible journey, you know, from there. So from there, we were in the train, they did it. Only my mother had a little bit of food left for us for a day or so, mostly bread and a few things. So then from there we went to, we ended up actually in Vienna after 3 days. And when we got to Vienna, they said that anybody wants water or they want bread. They opened up the trains, you know, the sliding doors, but they were padlocked in as well. Can't believe this. And somebody asked them, what have you got in those things? They said, we got human cargo. That's what we got in there. Humans, Jews. And the Austrian SS came up, and they said if anybody wants to have a bit of water or they want bread, they need jewelry. If you've got jewelry, we'll give it to you. Some of them had the jewelry, gave it away for free. My mother didn't have anything, so she had a wedding ring, and that's all she gave away. And we did get some water. I think it was actually a bottle of water. And we got some bread. And the next day, he said we were supposed to go to Germany. And one of the guys, which I don't understand, I was only 14 at the time, so I didn't really know too much about it. And he said, you know what? We're not going to Germany because this train is going east. So I didn't know what he was talking about. And I realized, you know, there's which I don't know. It was towards Auschwitz. It's all these other stories that were telling us, and so they're deceiving us all the time. It was not true, so to get us in there. And everybody thought, well, it won't last long, so it won't be. Well, when we arrived here, the train stopped here in Birkenau, which he said about, you know, the guy had his job on it to signal the Jews have arrived. And all of a sudden there's about 150 Ukrainians and about 30 Nazis came out with dogs, you know. And as we pulled in the train, we all got out. They told us you must leave your bags and everything on the train. You can't back to it. You have to leave it on the train. That's what it. You can't take it with them. So everybody left their things, whatever belongings they had, they left it up there. And then we marched on, and all of a sudden they split us up into two different lines, as I remember. One was women and children, and the other one was for men. But actually, me and my brother, Hans, we were together actually. For some reason, I don't know why, he said, no, I think I'll go with my mother. So I said, okay, I didn't think, I always had a guilty conscience because I should have told him to stay calm with me. But then, you know, I didn't think at the time, he had a long bias, you know, and everything else, so he wanted to go with his mother. Okay, so he went with his mother, and I went on my own, and as I'm standing up there, a Polish one of my own men, come up to me and said, how old are you? And I said, 14. He said, no, you're 17 now. I was wondering why I stand with them. 17, that's all you are. I was born for my age. And when I came to Dr. Mengele, he asked me how old I was. I said 17. And he said, okay, you can go through. So I went through. I didn't realize that this man saved actually my life because I was on the other side. So then I lined up for hours to get my tattoo, my number, Auschwitz number. I didn't know what the number was all about. We couldn't have to escape anywhere anyway, but we had to have a number. And after the number I got, they told us we're going to have a shower. And I managed to hide Chumash with me from the my grandfather sent me there for my bar mitzvah, which is very nice. Siddur, and I managed to sell a siddur, a small one, and a palace. And I managed to hide it in my clothes. And they told us we have to pack your clothes nicely and straight. And so when you come out from the showers, you find your clothes there, nice and tidy. There's no reason for me not to believe him, so that's exactly what I've done. My boots, everything went in there. Then I rolled it up in my clothes and my shirt and everything else. So then, when I came out, everything was gone. Then my clothes was gone. Next thing I know is always pajamas, better pajamas. My shoes were gone. A pair of wooden clothes. That's what I had. So, to me, I was very upset. I was really crying because my grandfather gave me that for my bar mitzvah, and it was meant a lot to me, this audition. But he lost it. So what do you do? Life must go on, and I try to line up and do what they want me to do. So I was there for a few days, not thinking that my family went to the guest chambers. Never thought about it. And then I asked the other boys who were there before, and they said, where's my family gone? He said, don't you see the chimneys? I said, what about the chimneys? He said, that's where they're gone. He said, when you arrive here, 3.5 to 4 hours later, they walk on. That's all it took. So I thought, well, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked with my brothers, the 3 brothers. My older sister, actually, was a year older than me. And actually, my mother obviously has gone to the children. But my older sister, funny enough, I did see her a few days later, working the women's barracks. And I saw shaved off her head. And I waved to her, and that's all I could do. I couldn't go anywhere near it. And now I think, you know what, I'm alone. But I'm not alone anymore, I've got a sister now. At least we got somebody, some family. So then they decided to send me to work. I went out, I found out I worked on the railway lines, they may just come in. And it was not easy work there on, and the food we had, it was 400 calories per day. That's why you have to work 8 to 10 hours a day. If we went out, as I remember correctly, went out, the music was playing, they counted us all those gates coming in for work, they counted us going out, they counted us coming in. And they woke us up always about 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know why so early. And we got dressed in these pajamas and we had to go outside, lined up, staying and waiting. But this time, especially in December, it was -20, it was so cold, it was nothing like that. So what we done is we did watch it, we made a circle. And I remember the guys telling me, don't stop, keep on moving. Because if you stop, I tell you, you're going to be frozen stiff. Shut down, I moved, I held my feet, moved my arms, never stop moving about. Because if you move, you're just wear frozen stiff. It's the pajamas, it was so cold down there. And this was going on for a few weeks. We'd been going to work, back home. Then they took about half a dozen Jews, which I had to watch. They hanged them every day. I don't know why. No reason, but I had to watch them. And they didn't come, for us until about 6 o'clock. I said, why it's so early? I don't know. No idea. And 6 o'clock they come up, they counted us. And then they come out with a black coffee. It was a black coffee for breakfast. 1 slice of bread and 1 piece of margarine. And this was actually my morning ration, which was nothing there really. And for that you had to work 10 hours. When we got to work, it was 1 pint of clear soup, which was a fish soup. And then I asked the guards, excuse me, where's the meat for the fish? He said, we can't have that. He said, the meat goes to the soldiers. You only get the bones. That's what you get. So that's what we had for lunch. In the evening when we came in, actually, we had a thicker soup, a pint. And that was every day the same. It never changed. And even that food we had in the evening, I found out afterwards that it was leftovers from them. Whatever they saw, they couldn't finish the smoke in the back end of the wine, and that's why they mixed in for us. And that's how it was for quite a while. So then when I came into Auschwitz, I see more transports coming in, and I thought to myself, you know what? This man saved my life. Maybe I could save something. I think Tzvi mentioned it as well. So I went up to these younger women, and I just said to them, would you please try and give your children, to your grandmother or mother if you haven't got any. And I didn't tell them why, because just in case I get caught and I'll be in trouble. So someone took notice, they realized something is wrong here, and I said, if I could save some of the Jewish lives, it mean a lot to me. And then a few days later, I got friendly with the musicians. They were playing the music every day, and I got friendly with them, started talking to him. And he was telling me that he had his brother and his family coming up from Holland. And he said, you know what? And so, because I knew the commandant, I asked him if he could save my family. And he said, you know what, you better go with them together, never mind saving your family. So they told me that he told his brother and his family, you've got to go into the gas chambers. And the advice I can give you, that stand in the middle. And then it takes maybe 7-8 minutes. But if you stand at the end, and then to the door, they could take up to half an hour, struggling, coughing and squealing. So that's why he told me, I thought to myself, that's very hard. And then there was, you see, these things are dreams, and it comes up for years, I've been thinking about them. And the other thing was, in my village, there was a man who fought for the Germans in the First World War, and his name was Farkas, and he had medals from Germany. It was actually a Hungarian-Austrian Empire he belonged to, for 100 years. That's why we speak Hungarian, although I was born in Romania. That changed in 1939 to Hungary, because Hitler gave back again what they took in the First World War. And I see this guy on a pickup truck. There's a few other people there. I can't make my mind up, All of a sudden I see his medals going by. He had all the medals still on there, but he had no legs, because he was shot off in the First World War. They took the legs off of his knee. And so it looked like to me he was standing up there. I saw his white beard, very nicely cleaned. And next thing I saw that they dumped him into a pit. But I never know where this, was he dead already or was he alive? I don't know. I never was close enough to really see, but I saw the man there. And that worried me because he was the best. He was he called a Russian code in Yiddish? I don't know what it's called in the shul. He was a very, very good man. Anyway, but his two sons, they survived as well. Come from the same village, and they studied by my father. And as it happens, my father sent a picture over from the Cheder to Romania, to my uncle, and at the end of that are those two boys, from the Farkas boys. I'll show you later on. They were his grandchildren, of course, two brothers. The next thing I remember a train arrived from Holland, for instance, and this lady, she did not help them down with a suitcase. I was near there, and she gave me a new tip. I didn't like to say nothing, but I knew where she was going. But you can't say that, but what are you going to say? So those are the things which I always remembered for many, many years. It took me many years to get over them. And then this carried on until, I'm trying to make it short with those things, until January the 17th. Oh yeah. She's telling me I forget. Because I don't write nothing down, when I just speak from my head. they saw it down, his back was aching. And the guards come up and shot him. And I said, why, you know? He said, well, he's here to work, not to stretch himself. He shot him. So, there's nothing he could do about it. And a few weeks later, funny enough, I was weak myself, not enough food. So I didn't feel well that day. I felt very bad. So what I done is I pretended I'm going to the toilet. You know, there was a toilet there. And I was a bit long in there because I wasn't feeling well. I came out, the guard noticed me, and he pulled me over and he said, you were too long in the toilet and we can't have that. So he said, you come into my cabin there, and he said, drop your pants, and I got 30 lashes for that. And it took me a few months to get swollen up, it took me a few months to cure it. But what did I do? I thank God that he didn't shoot me, so I was quite happy about it. Never mind the pain, this can heal up, you know. So I thank God, well, this could be worse. So I wasn't really annoyed or anything like that, upset, anything like that. And those are little things I'm trying to say, but, you know, in Auschwitz we carried on, and cold, and no food, and no anything. So, one day, I don't know what happened, but I had a big mass on my neck. I don't know what happened there. And it was getting like a nipple, the size of a nipple, so big. So I was so big that I lay down in Auschwitz on the floor. And this SS noticed me, and he had something in the nail or something in his shoe, and he put his nail on there, and it burst. It won't burst, but there's no doctors I could go to, nothing, no anesthetics, nothing. So, lucky enough, I still got the scar even today after all these years, but thanks God, you know, it healed up. It took a long time. I've still got the scar on my neck still today. Those are the things, you know, which really stood in me. From there, they decided now it was coming Christmas, and after Christmas, on the 17th of January 1945, they decided there was 50,000 Jews left there in Auschwitz, and we can't have that. You know, you can't murder them. There's no more. You know, the commentarians didn't work anymore. We can't shoot them. So what we're going to do is we're going to send them on a death march. So we left 50,000 into the forest, and believe me, the cold weather and the forest with no food, it was very, very hard. Unless you had to be very, believe me, very healthy to be. Most of them died anyway on the way. Yeah, I heard shots every 5 minutes. Somebody got shot. If you didn't walk, you got shot. Now, how did I survive? Well, I was drinking the snow to start with, and only in the evenings. During the day I had to march, and then I went underneath the snow and see what I could find. I find some grass, I find some squiggles left, whatever pieces, you know, and this, I managed to survive on that, just about, but my body was getting less and less and less. And, you know, like, I was nothing on me anymore, you know, yet I was a big boy, you know, very healthy boy. If you're not eating, you know, working, you can't work if you don't really got no energy. Anyway, we were marching like this for over 2 months in the forest, you know, and with wooden clocks. And after that they decided, there wasn't many left of us, but they decided to take us to a place called Honickberg. You never heard of it. The countryside was called Sachsenhaus. It was about an hour from Berlin. It's the first time we got to, it's always Poland, the first time we really was in Germany. And so they decided we can't take him in, you know, marching, you know, with stripes and all skinny ones, you know. So we done, they put the train back again, and they put us on this train. And there's no food again. We got in there, I think it was about 2 days again. This time I had no water, no grass, no nothing. And I was so weak, and then when they opened raining, I remember, and I sort of fell into this puddle as I come out of the train. And I said, you know what, my father was such a happy man, was happening to all this, the Eden, the Orthodox. I mean, I remember actually, I forgot to tell you, I remember actually, on the Rosh Hashanah, and he mentioned as well, I remembered a lot of the davening Yeshua Kippur. From home, you know, it was happening to Father. And I started singing all the songs. By that time, my voice was good still. And before I knew it, there was 100 people around me. It was an evening, came back from work. And they all cried outside, and there was so emotional. Yeah, so anyway, so I was going to speak to God this time because my father told me to go, God helps, it's fantastic, and this and that. So this time, I was laying on the floor and crying to God, you know, and I said, I remember saying, Shira Malas, Mimakim Kusim Hashem, you know, I'm calling you from the deep of my heart. Please help me. Please help me. I said, you know, God, you can't take it anymore. So, you know, I said, I was speaking to God, actually, thinking, and I said, I tell you the truth, I'm not religious anymore, I don't believe anything. However, if you get me out of here, you know, I'm going to give my word. And I shall go 1 year to Yeshiva for you, to pay my debt to you, if you get me out of here. And as I'm saying this, I'm telling you, I don't believe in myself, there's a miracle. The guards come up and brought us some black coffee. And I couldn't believe it, that actually God helped me. Praise the God. And he helped me. And he came back, he brought me some bread. I couldn't take it anymore. It was too big to get out. So everybody had their bread except me. And the guard came back again. He says, give this kid a chance to live as well. And he took it away from a stronger guy and he gave me a piece of bread. And after that, next day, I don't know how weak I was, but I knew that Hashem is going to help me all the way now. So from there, they decided there's no room in this camp for you. So they pushed this on towards Dachau now. And there was a long march again on the forest, back again in the forest, and a long march to go to Dachau. But we never managed to get to Dachau. We got as far as 20 miles from Dachau. If you look at the map, it's a hell of a long journey. And walking with shoes, you know, with wooden blocks, it was not easy. And but believing in God now, I had more strength. And I was saying, you know, He would help me. And there was a couple of times actually that I just nearly collapsed. Walking, and the two boys, you know, the two boys from Homeboard noticed me. They knew I'm going to get shot. If the guard noticed me, I'm falling over. So they put their arm, I put my arm over this side and the arm on this side, and they carried me to the next place. And I survived after that. You know, and the next morning I felt a lot better. And there was an air raid. I figured that now the Americans were bombing over there. And one of the boys managed to get into a field and brought me a potato full of mud. I was eating it better than nothing. And I was getting starting getting better. So we ended up in a place called Flossenburg. Right? And this Flossenburg, we got inside and there was nothing but lice. I've never seen. And I was covered with lice, just covered. People eating you. The little bit of blood I left, they took it out. You know, so they gave me a clean shirt, and would you believe it, as soon as I put the shirt on, I was back again, and covered. So I, lucky enough to my muscle, they said, you got no room up here. How many people can we put in here from all over the places? There was only a small camp in this Flossenburg. It was stones, we were cutting stones, you know, that's what they done. And so I said, you have to move on. You got to go to Dachau. Okay, so I next went back in the forest again. We marched back again, and this time the Americans kept on coming in. And so they decided, you know what, we're going to get in going to put us on the train again to get to Dachau. but somehow Hashem was helping us because the Americans managed to bomb the locomotive, right? They couldn't go anywhere. So we went back again, put another one on. They're going to take the Jews to Ghana. So they put another locomotive on. This time the Americans thought, you know what? There must be some very cargo in there, because why do they put another locomotive on? There must be special cargo in there. So they come again, bomb the second one. Now they didn't have anyone to put on, so they told us to get out. But meantime, because thinking there's some special cargo, the Americans started coming in helicopters and shooting inside these things. Well, we were even up there, you know, survived. And not of them, I think it was about a couple of hundred who got killed. And there's one boy came from my village, I remember, he was sitting next to me, you know, and the bullet went right past me and it cut his chin off. And he couldn't, so we asked the guy to shoot him, he wouldn't do it, and shot him. So, you know, and that's where he ended up. So, because we had no train now, so the next morning, for the first time, actually, we went through a village. I couldn't believe it, and we're going through a village, a German village. And these village people thought, who the heck are these guys? You know, they said, come to Mars or something with these pajamas, skinny ones, the skeletons. Well, who are they? Now, so they came out, actually, the village people brought us some bread. And the guy said, you touch these Jews here, and we're going to shoot you as well. They took all the food back again. And then they moved into another village to stay overnight in a farm. And the farm had a long trough. And I was so hungry by then, I didn't care. So I put my head in with the pigs and fighting with them to eat this food very much. And just to get something. And then we went upstairs to the hay, and you know, and slept overnight there. And in the morning they told us the entree to prepare, and we're going back to the forest. So the two boys from the forest said the war is nearly finished, I'm not going back anymore. But if he got caught, he got shot right away. But I said, you know what, Hashem is with me. I'm not going to get shot, and I'm going to go. Which I did. And it was, I remember it was about between 10 and 11, and 11 watches actually, but just roughly. And I had a lot of tanks and shooting going on, and it was the first time I've seen no guards around me. I thought to myself, oh, must be the Americans. I didn't know anything about them. And I remember there was a foxhole there. I jumped into this foxhole, I was laying there waiting what's going on. And before I know it, this American soldier, he was a sergeant, you know, and he comes up, puts his Tommy gun on me, and he says, Mr. Eid? I said, yeah. What does the German speak English? He said, no, he says, I'm from New York. He says, I'm the American army. So I didn't tell any difference between the uniform. And he looked at me and he started crying. He cried, and he picked me up. There was nothing there. And he picked me up and put him in the plant tanks. And he looked at my shoes. He said, I didn't walk like this. So he had a few assess on this tank, you know. And he said, take your boots off and give it to him. And he gave me these boots. And he took his jacket off, took the jacket off, my jacket, his jacket off, sergeant jacket, gave it to me, and eventually gave me his trousers as well. Because I was a small man, you know, his clothes at that time fitted me very well. So, not now anymore, but that time I was only 15 when I was liberated, you know. So, he gave me that, and then he said, all the soldiers actually, the American soldiers, whether black, well, that's why I don't hate nobody. They all gave me blood, some blood. And I had my friend took me to American Army Hospital. Now I promised God I'm going to go to Yeshiva, and I'm going to keep my promise. So ended up the Americans put me to a convent instead. So I went to this convent, you know, there's nuns, but they were terrific, I mean, really helpful. And it's called Indersdorf, you know, so we got into this convent, and I waited there, and we had a nice bed, we got sheets for a change. It was all run by the AMPLA, you know, the Americans. And there was a lady up there, she came from Czechoslovakia, and name was Greta Fisher. She was dedicated, to children, saving children after the war. Even better, but the Jews are not Jews. And in this convent, I was there in this convent about 8 or 9 months. And then somebody came and said, everybody wants to go to India. Can't go. It's South Africa. And they said to me, we're going to send you to school and learn English. I said, I would love to go to school and learn English, but I can't. Where do you come? I promised God. They looked at me and said, I promised God I'm going to go to Yeshiva for a year. I said, he kept his word and I'm going to keep mine. It's as simple as that. So he looked at me and said, well, no, I can't. A promise is a promise. My God kept his promise. I'm here. I'm alive. So I ended up in Manchester, in 17 Barracks Street. There are my grand there. And I didn't keep my word. I stood there for a year. And I said, now, I've done my year, I've paid my debts, I'll do what I want to do now. So I came out from there. I had a letter from America. They want me to come to the States. They said, you should learn, Farrier is very good in Europe. So I went to learn Farrier. I found a nice Polish very nice man. He taught me exactly how to count, how to do the name. That's what I trained on from beginning to the end. So I was there for a year. And then I went to American Embassy. They told me, because you're Romanian, and this is a communist, I can't go. So I thought, I can't go to America. So I don't want to be a Farrier. Farrier was, was not good anymore. Synthetic materials came in, and when they were talking about animals, hunting, this and that. So I ended up working for Brzezinski, which is a big, in Staffordshire, a big baker shop. And I worked there for a while, and then I went down to the lane, and went to Auschwitz. There was also very nice, there was called Auschwitz. And they do catering for Hassan and weddings and bar mitzvahs. They had only milchig, to eat, no flesh. So I worked there for a while, and then I met somebody from Berlin, who said, why don't you come to me? He said, I learned how to do shopping bags. Shopping bags? No, shopping bags. So I went to shopping bags. So I went to shopping bags, and it was very fashionable, those shopping bags, it's plastic. No, not plastic, there was all leather then. The plastic didn't exist. And so there wasn't enough money for me to pay, my lodgings. I lived in Emma's Road, which is in Hackney. The other end is Top Newton, so there's Staffordshire. And so I thought, well, and this guy was just around the corner where I live. So I thought, if I work, in Auschwitz, I finish at 2 o'clock. So in the afternoon, we'll do the handbags. So I work most things. Except for Shabbos. I never worked for Shabbos. I never worked for Shabbos. On Shabbos, that was my Shabbos, my desk. And I worked for 6 days a week. Sunday was open. The lane, Pelican Lane. Now Pelican Lane is not Pelican Lane anymore. There's no Pelican Lane anymore. It's a Muslim lane now. It's all it is kebab in here. All this nice stuff we used to have when I came didn't exist anymore. So I done the 2 jobs, and then the 2 yeshiva because they went to America. They got it. I don't know how they got it. They managed to go to America. And they said, we've got a nice business for you. What business? He says, making buttons and bows. I give you customers for the trade. Buttons and bows. Never heard of it. They said, no, I'm showing you the cover buttons. It's okay. How much do you want? It says £50. A lot of money then. I didn't have £50. So I got the partner with me. It was about 25. We paid 25 each, and we got this business. But what he sold us was nothing but rust. So we stood there for 3 months. We lost out £50 and called it a day because it went to a street. So obviously we didn't get any work. The buttons and those. The tools he gave us was from 1890. Which we didn't know. But then I decided, what? I might go and learn about this trade. So I'm walking by Brick Lane, I see the Miller brothers. So I walk inside, I said, Mr. Miller, I said, I got a good business for you. He says, yeah, well, yeah. I said, I noticed you're doing bleeding and you're doing embroidery. I said, you got all your test customers, well, why not do the bells and the buttons? Well, you can do it? I said, yeah. But I didn't really. I thought it was his money. So I said, okay. So then I ordered the right stuff, the right tools, the right thing, which it should be. And I worked with him for a year, over a year. And he made it right for me. But what I found out with it was because I thought I was going to go for a holiday, for a couple of weeks. I met this Thomas Cook, on the bus, to the south of France in a youth hostel. It was a shilling a day. It was 5 pence nowadays a day. To stay in the youth hostel. The very good for them was a loaf of bread and a piece of cheese, and that's it. That was good. Anyway, gone there. When I come back, I had to hitchhike. I didn't have enough money to get back, so I was a day late. When I was a day late, he told me that he took a day off from my wages, because I was a day late. I said, you know what, Mr. Miller, you can do with the money more than I can. And it doesn't interest me anymore. I'm leaving now. So what do you mean? What do you mean you always have this? I said, I never told you. Every night, instead of finishing at 6, I worked at 8 because I know where to go to. I was on my own, when am I going to go? But I never told you that. And every night I worked late. So in the morning came in, you had everything ready. And you got a chutzpah, to take off one day. And I worked the whole year. So I said, you know what, goodbye. So my luck, I walked along the street, and I see this man, a Russian, and he's got a shop. He has sells papers, the paper bags or whatever he does. Mr. Cutler. I said to Mr. Cutler, you wouldn't have a workshop for me, would you? Oh yeah, he says, in Broad Street, down the corner. He says, top floor. Mind you, the place looked terrible, we didn't drink up a bit. But anyway, it was good enough. So I took the place apparently, because I was doing it. I said, you want a flat as well? Oh yeah, right opposite. He says, how much is that? He says, that's what I do, £1 a week. So I said, okay. So I got a flat and a business there for £2. And I got some machinery for a guy which actually later I found out that he was smaller to a million. I didn't know this. Anyway, he helped me to get the machines and everything else. And then I ended up, doing, from them I was doing very well. And then a lot of them called me, they never got paid. I waited much for my money. I don't think I made 5% in. So you know what? I can make my own dresses. I don't need them to cut them. Because they used to cut the material for me, make super nice belts. You would understand. Anyway, so I decided to go. So I went to the bank. I said, I need £5,000. He said, well, £5,000? He says, well, you want £5,000? I said, I know about dress factory. So what do you know about dresses? Nothing. He says, if you want to open up a dress factory, I said, well, you know what? You give me the £5,000, I know everything. You do? How do that? Yeah, I get myself a designer, I get myself a cutter, I get machiners, I got a presser. I'm in business. What else do I need? You know what's a good idea? It's not bad. So, how long do you want it for? I said, well, 2 years. And finally, I paid it back in time, so that's how I became a dress manufacturer. And then I met, which you didn't know, I met Miriam's husband. I didn't know he was married to her.
He was an electrician.
Yeah, he was an electrician.
Electrical work.
He was there. It's funny, isn't it? I never knew about Miriam. And
I didn't know him then. It was just business.
So he done this place up for me nicely, and a nice factory and everything else, about maintenance, man. And that's done to 1979. In 1979, I decided to go to Canada, which is half the price, it's much cheaper for me. My trouble is Toronto is too expensive for me, so I went down the Lake Europe, which is about 3 hours from Toronto, but you got it very cheap. I bought a lovely home for $25,000. But in Toronto, it costs you at least $250,000 to $300,000, That dollars I'm talking about, not pounds. And that's how I try to tell the story. I would like Miriam actually. She's got a wonderful, what's her name? It's only taking a few minutes. You know, she wrote.
I wrote a poem about 17 years ago. I was in Israel about the Holocaust because my late husband was also a survivor from Auschwitz. So we were there for a reunion of the Holocaust, and I suddenly had the urge to sit and write it. So if I may read it to you, it's going to take a couple of minutes. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Right. I've called it In Memory of Those We Lost and Loved. The quarry was captured and awaited its fate. This was not war, but a deep-rooted hate. Hunted like rabbits from warren to warren, herded like cattle, nowhere to run. We stood to be selected at the gates of hell. From inside the camp came an awful smell. Thousands of people arriving each and every day. With the flick of a finger, a decision was made. One side was death, the other meant life. And so we lost our parents, children and wives. Whole families torn apart at one man's whim. Who lived or who died, it made no difference to him. The constant torment by our captors never stopped. Their only mission was to work us until we dropped. Hard labour, starvation and daily beatings, dead bodies hanging were our only greetings. The atrocities that befell our families, never to be forgotten in our agonies. We suffered deprivation and untold horrors, never knowing if there would be a tomorrow. Not wanting to think, too tired to think, wanting to shut out memories of that awful stink of our loved ones' last moments on this earth. To live another day, why? What was our worth? That we survived those terrible times was indeed a miracle, and also a sign that we were reborn with God's help to start again towards life and good health. To a new country and a new beginning, to work our hardest to earn a shilling. Strangers in a strange land, we learned on our own 2 feet to stand. We set up homes with loved ones of our own to build a future from seeds we had sown. With pride and joy and much labour, we prospered, never asking any favour. Now there was no time to stop and ponder, too busy building a life, no time to wonder how we survived, how to tell the story of one man's madness of hate and glory, who was determined to exterminate us forever, and how we faced this evil devil together. And so the years were passing by, memories fading. The past we dare not deny. Never again. We must stand up and recount it. Our stories, each and every one, must be recounted. The time has come for us to reflect, so that future generations may never forget. A burning light we must all cherish, in loving memory of every soul who perished. A memorial we must set up in perpetuation, to be passed on from generation to generation, so that the spirits of all those we lost and loved will rest in peace in the heavens above, to guide us with the help of the Almighty, until the day when we will once again be reunited. Shalom.
So, first of all, shakar to Leslie, very, very moving. Sorry? Sorry?
That's right, I'll make a speak first. I just wanted to say, you know, going to school now, I seem to see the vision, you know. I must go and speak, because I haven't spoken for 64 years, nothing done. And it seems to be like it's a must. And I go to these schools and I teach the kids over and over again, you must not forget the Holocaust. You must come to generations to be able to know that hate is something terrible. You know, hate people, everybody suffers in the end. They, as people go in, they think that only the Jews suffer. You know, everybody has suffered. I'm trying to explain it to them, everybody's going to suffer about it. You know, and so my message is very important. And that's why I do these schools. It's because I go to the colleges, I do the universities. It's because how important it is to pass my message. And I tell them that if you want to take pictures with me and saying to you children when you grow up, this man actually believed them. It's not the stories that comes up from the papers, you know, there's no stories. I all want to see my number. You know, there's most of them. And I get some lovely letters. Most of them send me over 100 letters. You know, thanking me. And one girl says, I'm glad you speak about bullying. Because I was bullied, you know, because I was too tall and I was very skinny. So I was bullied. She says, I'm glad I said, and thank you very much for thinking about bullying. See, it's easy for me because I started from bullying. But bullying, I go, what happens when you start bullying is, that's what happened to us. And, you know, it got into anti-Semitic side, and then they got into, you know, genocide. So I started off from that, then I finished off with my story, and then I ended up as, and I tell them to the school kids, you know what, I want you to study as much as you can. And they all have a good laugh, because when you get my age, I forget it in 5 minutes. So the Rebbe can speak now.
Okay, so firstly again, tremendous thank you to those for speaking to us. When we hear his words, you know, the lexicon of the English language is very beautiful. But when we hear his story, words like fear, words like hunger, trauma, take on a whole different meaning. When you walk into this world, the world of Auschwitz, these words take on a different meaning. Now, over the course of the 3 days together, we made one very special blessing yesterday, which is the desperately sad blessing of the destruction of a synagogue. And Leslie has an obligation, as the walking miracle, as Svi said he is, when he comes to this place, when he survived, to make a blessing, to thank Hashem that he survived, and he is the miracle, and he made a miracle for him here. So, you know about how.
What's it? Yeah, but
I'll tell you the word.
okay. Baruch Atu Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani nes b'makam hazeh.
The blessing is thanking Hashem, Master of the universe, who made for me a miracle in this place. Special blessing.
Okay, guys, it seems to have stopped raining.